board. Other questions for the?
Yeah, you mentioned the placards and that, but I want to just go back, because somewhere in there you said something like $21,000 or something for bus ads that we don't do. Where was that?
Oh, I
in
think
your
the value
report?
of the...
Yeah, the value was $21,000 a month by not going out and selling advertisement or something. Was that your point?
I think the value of those ads that TriMet uses to promote its own service represents $21,000 that is not incurred because TriMet owns the advertising space.
So we should go out and sell advertising?
No. Well, you do
Maybe
that.
we should. No, that's my thought. Maybe we should be out selling advertising. Bring in $21,000.
You do. Take a look at the MAX trains. Some of them don't even look
Oh, on the outside.
recognizable.
Yeah. But I do appreciate your comment. I made one at several meetings ago that writing any portion of TriMet ought to be a positive experience. And anything we can do to add to that in perception of the public that it's safe, it's positive, it's friendly, it's, you know, you can enjoy a ride on the bus or the MAX, or the few that ride west, maybe they can talk to each other or something, enjoy each other on the train. But that's a good point. We can use it to promote the good that TriMet's doing.
And we specifically remember some of the previous bus placards, including the one that said 218 vehicles are off the road because I'm here today.
That kind of message, yeah.
Very, very positive message.
Yeah, I think the board would agree, and certainly people at TriMet, that we have a great story to tell.
Agreed.
And we haven't, I know that coming onto the TriMet board, I didn't understand all of what TriMet does to make the city more livable outside of providing those trips. And it would be wonderful if media gave us that kind of positive attention. I know we are fairly adept at and have a lot of experience working with the media, but not necessarily on the story that we want to tell about all the great things we do at TriMet. So I appreciate that part of it.
I just want to thank all of you for your time. I know that there's a lot of work that goes into this. This is very well organized, easy to understand. Anybody can pick this up and really learn about TriMet. I agree. We do need to market the strength. And there's so many. I continually learn about new things all the time. So I just commend all of you for your work, especially those. I know Paul from years ago, and I understand when he says, you know, I've enjoyed learning and reading and understanding about TriMet because it is fun, and there's a lot here that I don't think everybody knows quite understands. So just appreciate all that you've done with your report. Thank you.
Especially to Brian, thank you very much for your service, and take that opportunity in this venue to commend you for 3 nice years of work with TriMet.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been an enlightening experience for me, for sure, and I always find each of the 3 years I've been remarkably impressed with the leadership in all the departments that have presented. So I want to make that comment, and I appreciate being on the CAC.
Thank you.
No further questions. Thank you for your report, and thanks all. We have
more of a process question. Forgive me my ignorance of the process. I think the CAC has done a great job, and they've identified some issues and recommendations. So the process questions relates to what's the next step in terms of addressing
implementation.
Yeah, especially on the finance side, there were a couple of things that were recommended that personally I think are somewhat troubling. And just wonder what is the response? How do we respond back to the CAC?
Well, maybe I'll let Fred, but I know that as a as a board, we take, we're at the 60, I call it the 60,000 foot level, and if there are policy recommendations, we would probably cull those out and debate them, and any board member can bring those questions forward. In terms of informing the agency, I know that it's that staff that works most closely with the ideas and recommendations, but all departments get this and use it, right? I mean,
yeah, might be the best place to engage on it is when we will be presenting the budget to you, to be able to ask, well, okay, we heard from the CAC blank, what are you doing about, where does that reflect itself within that budget process?
Okay.
We take what they say very seriously, and although it may not be the exact recommendation, we think the area is, without question, one that ought to be focused on. So the challenge then would only be for you to make your little list and say, well, hold it, I don't quite see when we heard from the CAC blank, can you help on this? And I think the budget process is the best. And then as the various programs are also dealing with issues, to be able to raise it. But we don't tend to come back, although we probably could, and say, okay, here were the number of recommendations from the CAC, here are all the steps that are being taken. If you would like that as a board, we could also do that as well.
I'll give you the example that I cited earlier was the work that we did last year on analysis of the benefit package and the health care, and that work really